We're going to bring you back to a story that we covered at the time, but whose significance we didn't fully understand then. And it's definitely worth revisiting. So just before dawn on November 4th of last year, a team of masked FBI agents wearing bulletproof vests showed up at the home of a journalist who works for the investigative media company Project Veritas. They pounded on his door. They said they have a warrant. Let us in. We know what happened because it was all captured on camera. Here it is.
I'm sorry, so what is this regarding?
This is a search warrant. This open up.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. My hands are
So there's another team coming? Yeah. So maybe we'll split up to like areas of the house.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. It was serious. They had weapons. They barged in. They went through the whole place. They tore the journalist's home apart. There's another team coming, they said. And they were right. 2 days later, feds hit the home of Project Veritas founder James O'Keefe in Westchester County. So why were the FBI coming to the homes of employees at Project Veritas? What did they do? Were they involved in a human smuggling ring? Were they bringing fentanyl in from China and killing more Americans? No. The FBI believed that Project Veritas was in possession of or had information about a diary written by Joe Biden's daughter, Ashley Biden. The FBI claimed that diary had been stolen. We now know the FBI knew that diary had not been stolen, and it wasn't. But as James O'Keefe pointed out at the time, and didn't have enough people hear him when he said it, what if it was stolen? Having a stolen diary is not a federal crime. So what in that diary was so important that Joe Biden sent FBI agents to get it back? Here's what O'Keefe said.
The tipsters indicated that the diary included explosive allegations against then-candidate Joe Biden. The tipsters indicated that they were negotiating with a different media outlet for the payment of monies for the diary. We attempted to return the diary to an attorney representing Ms. Biden, but that attorney refused to authenticate it. Project Veritas gave the diary to law enforcement to ensure it could be returned to its rightful owner. We never published it. Now, Ms. Biden's father's Department of Justice, specifically the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, appears to be investigating the situation, claiming the diary was stolen. We don't know if it was, but it begs the question. In what world is the alleged theft of a diary investigated by the president's FBI and his Department of Justice a diary?
So everyone in American media hates James O'Keefe because he covers them. So they ignored this story, and they never answered the question. But the question hangs in the air, and it's a real one, and we're quoting. In what world is the alleged theft of a diary investigated by the FBI? Why were they doing this? Well, the answer lies in what's in the diary. And now we know what's in the diary, thanks to a new piece in the Daily News, which has a copy of the diary. Josh Boswell is a reporter there at the Daily Mail. He broke this story, and he joins us with the answer.
Hi, Tucker.
Josh, thanks so much for coming on. What is this about?
So we've looked at the diary. We've spent a lot of time considering carefully what to report from it. And what we've chosen to report are some pretty serious things that Ashley, the president's daughter, wrote. She wrote that she was musing over whether her father was sexually inappropriate with her when she was a little girl. She mentions in the diary showers with her dad. She also talks about them being probably not appropriate. She writes that down on one page in her diary. And she also refers to being hypersexualized at a young age. There's a lot of references in the diary to her repeated spells in rehab, her relapses with drug abuse, alcohol, and sex addiction as well. And there's some truly kind of shocking things in there as well about how Joe cried. He was brought to tears over worry for his daughter just before a Democratic primary debate. So we can now know, because of this diary, that there are several things that would be extremely important for national security, that they not fall into the wrong hands. For example, the Chinese, right? Or the Russians, who could use this as blackmail if it wasn't published. So that's why we decided to put this out there, and why we think that it's important that the American people know this.
Well, it's prima facie shocking. I mean, fathers don't shower with their daughters at an age at which they remember it, of course. In your reporting, did you see any potential, and I know this wasn't the focus of your piece, but potential crime that would justify a pre-dawn knock raid by the FBI?
Yeah, this was an area that we covered in our reporting. We really wanted to find out, how did the diary get from where it was to to being published online. And it was left by Ashley in a house that she stayed in for a while after she came out of rehab. And then the next person who came to that house found the diary under the bed. And they're not actually being investigated by the FBI for stealing it. They're being investigated for selling it. So I don't know if that justifies a dawn raid on the people who got hold of the diary, who bought it from them. But the person who found it, she is being investigated for selling it. That's the alleged crime that the FBI are looking into.
Yeah, which is not a federal crime. Josh Boswell of the Daily Mail. Great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're going to recap a lot of what you just heard. This has been out there for a while. It should have been the focus of a lot more attention than it has been. We hope to change that. So here, once again, are the words from Ashley Biden's diary. Quote, "I have always been boy crazy," she wrote, "hypersexualized at a young age. I remember somewhat being sexualized with a family member. I remember having sex with friends at a young age. Showers with my dad, probably not appropriate." So Ashley Biden wrote this in the context of her struggle with sexual compulsiveness in later life. And she attributes those compulsions to the fact that her father took showers with her in a way that was, quote, "not appropriate." Now, we have no reason to doubt that what she wrote is true. She did not write this for public consumption. She wrote it in a diary that, as you just heard, she accidentally left behind in a halfway house in Palm Beach, Florida in June of 2020, during the presidential race. The woman who took the room that she left, a single mother, found that diary under the bed. Now, if you are the father of daughters, ask yourself, is there any explanation for that behavior that is justifiable? And there's not. It's sick and it's horrifying. Now, Ashley Biden doesn't say how old she was at the time she showered with her father, but obviously she was old enough to remember doing it. And by the way, little kids don't take showers, they take baths. Inappropriate showering with your own daughter? If that's not child molestation, it is definitely close enough to justify a police visit. But the police have not visited Joe Biden. They're not investigating this. Instead, the FBI is breaking into the homes of journalists who brought it to public attention. And now, according to the Daily Mail, again, you just heard this, the feds are investigating a woman called Amy Harris, who had the misfortune of finding the diary. To be clear, none of these people committed crimes, certainly not federal crimes, and yet they are being harassed and tormented by federal law enforcement because they embarrassed Joe Biden and spilled very dark secrets to the world. And the effect is to intimidate everybody else in the media out of covering it. And that's why you're not seeing media coverage about this anywhere. It's enough to make you reassess stories that you have read about Joe Biden in the past that we probably didn't take seriously enough. But in light of this, we take them very seriously. In the run-up to the last presidential election, several media outlets did run stories, and they included videos and photographs and first-hand testimonials that documented Joe Biden's habit of touching young women, often in ways that made them visibly uncomfortable. A lot of people laugh this off. It doesn't seem quite as funny now. You're seeing a small selection of those pictures on your screen right now. In a particularly creepy picture from 2015, Joe Biden leans in uncomfortably close to the daughter of Senator Chris Coons of Delaware during a signing-in ceremony. Joe Biden would also frequently comment on the physical appearance of very young women. Here's just one example from May of 2019.
What I'm going to do, if you give me an address, I'm going to write you a longer answer and tell you the exact things I would do, okay? Okay? Promise? I'll bet you're as bright as you're good looking, I tell you.